Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Detour podcast. Another random time, Tuesday night. Why not? 6 p.m. We thought we'd have a chinwag with another couple of superstars of world of cycling. Start by introducing, of course, John Iffy Trevorrow, four-time national road champion. And live from Europe, we've got Luke Durbridge, who, of course, rides for Bike Exchange-Jayco. How you feeling, Durbo?
Good, mate. Yeah, pretty tired. I got in from Dauphine yesterday. Just relaxing back in Girona here at the moment. And, but all good. Can't complain.
How good is it when you're buggered and Iffy sends you a WhatsApp and he goes, mate, you up a quick one on the detour? Let's give you a lift.
I'm always happy to hear from you, Iffy. So, it actually just coincided quite well. So 10 o'clock, not too early. So, had a coffee. Yeah, I sort of look pretty knackered, I'm pretty sure. But other than that, we're good.
Yeah, I think we'll jump straight into Dauphine. It's just finished. Watching it was frustrating, because, of course, we're Bike Exchange-Jayco fans. And it was one of those races that were just on the verge of being too hard for Dylan Groenewegen, but they went there with that plan. Not just for him to win a stage, but to get him right for the tour anyway, I guess. But you got so close. So take us through some of that, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it was a frustrating week in the end. We never actually got to line up for a bunch sprint, and potentially we had 4 opportunities to do that. The tricky thing is that we were the only one who came with a, pure sprinter per se. There was no, Quick Step didn't have a Jakobsen. They didn't have Sam Bennett from Bora or Caleb Ewan. So when Dylan was climbing, very well for Dylan. He's a sprinter. Like, he's got a lot of muscle mass to get up a mountain. So, like, in fairness, like, that's, he was doing actually some of the best powers he's done in a long time uphill. So, you couldn't have asked for more. And we were waiting with him. But the issue was a lot of frustrating tactics going into that race because a lot of teams were riding just to drop Dylan and not actually to race for the victory. And this was something that we were noticing through the race, that we're getting quite frustrated with other teams, like Trek or UAE or something like this. They were just putting the hammer on the climb to drop us. And then when we would get back, they would stop working and not work for the stage. So, I couldn't quite understand what their tactics were, but, each to their own. But it was just, I mean, I don't often throw teams under the bus, but I don't know what Trek were doing. It was actually terrible. Like, when we got back on after I think it was the last day we had a chance for a sprint, we'd chased for 30, 40 minutes off the back with Dylan, and we got back on, and then Trek stopped working. And you're like, if you're going to go for the stage, go for the stage. But, don't just, drop Dylan and then when we get back on, okay, now we won't worry about it.
Not chase the break.
Yeah, exactly. If you're committed, you're committed. So that was quite frustrating. But anyway, it is what it is. And I think the week was really good for the team to gel before the tour. I personally haven't worked for a sprinter since Caleb Ewan left. I'm very rarely on Caden Grove's program. So for me to, gauge my effort on climbs, to, work for a sprinter, to look after him throughout the stage, things like that, that was good for me personally to actually do again. We've just been on a GC wagon for quite some time. So, yeah, that was good to sort of transition back into that.
There was a good piece from Whitey on one of the websites last night, I noticed, where he said exactly that. Look, he said, okay, it didn't work out for as far as a stage win for Dylan, but it actually worked well for us in preparation for the Tour de France. Dylan did a lot of hard work. It's really helped his condition. Yep. And I noticed in Switzerland last night that Michael Matthews, did a really good ride, third in the stage.
Not as good as the guy who ran second.
No, he really enjoyed it. That's one of the great second place
it's happening all the time. You guys cooked or what, Durbo? What's happening?
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Yeah. And especially at a World Tour race, you get quite a bit of information. So, anyway.
Yeah. It's all coming there. But I was going to throw this one to you. It's a good time to put it in. the breakaways have been staying away a bit of late. Quite a few stayed away in the Giro, and they really, the standard seems to be going up. The quality of these breakaways and the way it's so hard to pull them back. There'll be 25, 30K to go. They've only got 2 minutes and you're not getting them. It's changed a bit of late.
It definitely has. I mean, it makes sense. I guess a lot of the time riding on the front of the peloton, there would be 2 or 3 guys controlling the breakaway, from the team. Say there's a team that want it for a sprint, or there's the GC team. There's not often like more than 2 to 3 teams riding on the front of the peloton.
Yeah.
And there's also only 1 guy from that team is riding on the front of the peloton. So you've got 2 guys on the front of the peloton potentially chasing 7 guys in the breakaway. So in theory, 2 guys to chase 7, it's not possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 7's going to win out. So what happens now is that there is the guys in the breakaway, that's their actual only opportunity for a result. Because if you stay in the peloton, there's probably only 2 or 3 guys that can actually win the bike race. So that's the issue, is that a lot of guys are coming to the races and just like, look, even if I'm top 10 best rider, I'm not the best. So I might just go on the breakaway. Like you might find, for example, George Bennett's a world-class climber. But he's going in the breakaway to try and get a stage victory, because if it stays back in the peloton the way it is, Roglič's going to beat him, Vingegaard's going to beat him, someone like that. So you've got one of the world's strongest climbers attacking to go on the breakaway. So all these guys in the breakaway are literally, they're so strong. So it's actually the best opportunity, and it makes it for difficult racing for the guys trying to control the breakaway. Because if I was at the Tour de France, we wanted to have a sprint, and 6 guys go up the road, I'm going to go straight to the front. I'm going to ride and keep that break at 1 minute, because I don't trust them. Like one with like motorbikes and with cars and all the stuff for the tour, like the peloton get dragged along, but so does the breakaway. So yeah, like it does make for like boring racing, because you're just like in a sprint stage, like I'm not giving a breakaway more than 2 minutes, because if they turn the screws and I'm by myself, I'm not going to be able to catch them. And this is what we've seen quite often lately.
And the breakaways are getting smart. They're not putting all in early, because if they try and get too much, then they'll get chased down. So they're saving that little bit. You're letting them have their 2 or 3 minutes, but then when it comes time to chase, they've then got a little bit more left in the tank.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like for TV or exposure anymore. It's literally for a result, the breakaway.
Yeah.
And you avoid all the stress in the peloton. There's so much stress, there's so much crashes, things like that. Like you actually you even out your effort, and actually, that's a lot better for me personally. Like I love being the breakaway, out of the peloton for a little bit.
Now, I wanted to talk about your time trial. You actually put in a ripper. It was pretty good feel, a pretty solid ride by you. So your time trialing form looks pretty good, and you'll need to do a good time trial at the start of Tour de France, because for convoy position going on. Yeah,
that's the only reason I'll have a go at the Tour de France prologue, is just so Whitey can see the bike race.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
No pressure.
It's fine. As long as Whitey can see the race, I'm happy with that. That's what my major goal is. But no, I was happy. I was happy with Dauphine TT. It's been a little while since I've been back in the World Tour TT top 10. A lot of the times is because your job prior can sometimes pin you a little bit. But with the equipment we've got now, I mean, it was a good ride for me. It was probably one of the better ones I've done in a long time, and it just goes to show that with everything we've got now, if you do a good ride, you'll be up there. So it was nice for me to know that still around the mark. It's been a while, and I'm still in the top 10 best TTs if I have my day, which is good.
Well, I spoke to George and Sam last night on social distance, and they were recapping the Dauphine, and 2 things George was fired up about. He said, obviously, the motorbikes is a big issue. He said, particularly in sort of French races, you get a couple of French guys in the breakaway, adios, muchachos, they're gone. And then he said he felt bad because teams were just literally bidding their chances of a stage win to make sure that Dylan wasn't there at the finish. He said it was so evident. But, that must be hard because if I was riding, I'd be storing that and it'd sort of build this sort of resentment and, you don't have the trust. And, what about the good old days, traditional style of racing? Where's the respect gone, Luke?
I don't know, Jonesy. It's just the thing is, it's like we call it, directors playing Game Boy in the background,
Yeah, that's it.
So it's sort of, I spoke to a lot of the guys who were doing these things, like, oh, I'm sorry, director said this, the director said that. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know, I get that, but like, you make the decision in the end. You can make the decision. Like, we know that Dylan was probably, the not the worst, but yeah, he was the major sprinter there that you could get rid of. But like, at least race for the victory. Like, a lot of the time, they were more than happy to let the breakaway win than to help us. So, look, it added fuel to the fire. We're pretty motivated. We did some big efforts, which will help our condition for the tour. And I know at the tour, it's different. You'll have Caleb Ewan with his Lotto team. You'll have Quickstep with Jakob's team with Quickstep. So there won't be 4 of us swapping off to get back on. There'll be 12 of us. So if that was to happen, we'll have firepower and we should be okay.
Was the Ween Dog the DS at Dauphine?
It was the first time.
How'd he handle that?
First time I had the Ween Dog as director. So he was fantastic, actually, Peter Ween.
Was he?
Yeah, really good. Like, I mean, I don't know. You remember he never even had a smartphone. We had to tell him he had to have a smartphone. So
and then he wouldn't let go of that BlackBerry that was about 8 years old.
Yes, some mafia phone. But then, so in the end, he's actually, he's really good. VeloViewer, all the spreadsheets, all the recons. Yeah, it's strange to see old Ween Dog on the other side. Still a string of mean, though. Still fit, so.
Yeah. I've got a couple of live comments. Wendy Superfan, hi, Dan, John, Durbo, and Alex is coming up later on. Alex Manley. Buster Thomas, Durbo. Were there any thoughts of restricting Dylan's effort to just one stage?
Yeah, not really, because you just don't know which stage would, which stage would be the possibility. Actually, the stage 6 that he actually did get to the finish and lined up, and I think he was second in the bunch kick when the breakaway stayed away. That was probably the least likely to be a sprint. So, you had to sort of gamble with what was going to happen. I don't think you have to try in all of them because you just never know which day is going to come up to be the right one.
Richard King, Kira Ora from Rotorua, New Zealand, home of Bills. Gavin Charles says, sounds a bit like Nationals can be. Let Green Edge do everything, not worry if it costs the race. Simon Knowles, great to hear from Durbo. Really looking forward to seeing Bling at the Tour de France. And Wendy Superfan again, good luck at the Tour, Durbo. From a GC perspective, obviously Jumbo were very impressive with Rog and your mate Iffy Vinegar.
Yeah, Vinegar.
But I tell you, from a spectator's point of view, not having like the Pog and the Rog and they sort of keeping that separate until the Tour. I mean, the Tour is going to be a ding-dong battle from the GC perspective.
Oh man, how good is it though? Like,
oh no,
it's like if they rolled up at the Dauphine and raced each other, everyone would be like, oh, don't do that. So I'm kind of glad that there's also Switzerland with all the Ineos sent. It's like, I don't know if they all got together and go, let's build the hype.
That's
They've done it well. They've done it well. Yeah.
UAE, Ineos, and Jumbo got together and go, let's really hype this Tour de France. So let's all go to different races. Yeah. You can have Slovenia, you can have Dauphine, you can have Swiss, and then now we'll rock up at the Tour and we'll just see who goes on. So, from a non-GC side of things for the Tour, I'm excited to see the battle.
So not only that, we've got all of that, but also just for you, mate, we're going to have Dan Jones on the ground, the couch peloton on the ground every morning, doing his thing. Mate,
so we have spoken about this on the bus, like pretty much every day. Going, oh, you hear Jonesy? Jonesy's back. It's just like the rumors going around. Everyone's like, I heard Jonesy's back. What's he doing? He's back. He's back. He's like, what's he doing? He's doing grabs. I was like, he's doing grabs?
Yeah. I'll be grabbing you, mate. Don't worry about that. But we got to.
What's the plan? What are you doing?
So SBS Couch Peloton, I'm their representative. So every morning I've got Ride of the Day award voted on socials, and I've got a plush kangaroo loaded up today. I got all the gear, mate. So there's big incentives to put it in because if the fans notice it, you don't have to win the stage. It's fan voted. So everyone, don't worry about the yellow lion. That's old school, mate. We're over that.
We've got the kangaroo.
The plush kangaroo.
I finally got in with the SBS. I worked for them during the Giro, which was wonderful. I travelled, in the.
But they want it's a tour. They got to dial it up. They need something more polished.
And I got in there finally, but then Jones just jumped in, gave me the flick, moved in, took the spot.
No. You're not coming to the tour, Iffy?
No. I'm going to be doing the detail. I'm the one back here doing all of the driving, the whole thing, putting the whole thing together. The package.
Okay. Yeah. But what tour number is this for you now, Durbo? Geez, you'd have to be up to 8 or 9 now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, this is 8 if I go. Yep. So selection. But hopefully, yeah. Oh, count the chickens to the hatch, Iffy. So yeah. 8 would be. I've only haven't finished one, so it's good.
Well, that's gone quick because I can still remember when you were getting on the bus, your first race at 3 days of the punter, this scared little guy from Perth and Stewie getting your waters and stuff. And geez, look at you now, mate. You're just blossomed into. You wouldn't be in the veteran category, but you're definitely, at the peak of your powers.
That was a bit harsh,
mate. The way the peloton is these days, I am a veteran. There's 19-year-olds here, pretty much, more or less. So, I mean, I'm the only one who doesn't play PlayStation 90% of my time.
Yeah,
I know you're going to go because you're going to train with a couple of the mates, and we're going. Alex Manley's about to join us. But what's your preparation from now through the tour?
So I'm off to altitude. I'm off to Andorra today. So I'll head back up there for a week. And then I'll come back down and do the last week or two down, the last 10 days down in, I got a little place in the Costa Brava, near Girona, and just get used to the heat. Because, that's probably one of the biggest things that could really kick you around at the tour. If you haven't really trained in the heat, you just get knocked around. So it's meant to be 35 all week here in Spain. So, just trying to get used to that. So there's not too much iffy, just lots of recovery after the Dauphine. I was in good shape at the Dauphine, so now it's just managing, nutrition, sleep, a little bit of training, things like that. But it's not too much to be done now. The work's sort of done. You sort of just got to top it up.
Before I let you go, mate, how's your drums going? Or since WBE disbanded, which stands for the worst band ever.
Worst band ever. So I've got myself into garage band, making my own tracks, Jonesy. So when you come over, I'll have to play. I've turned into a bit of a DJ now, Yeah. So So I haven't been playing too much drums, but I've been making a few tunes. I'll send you some.
Roll up the venues with a USB stick and say, "Let's go."
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Oh,
so I'm DJing in my lounge room at the moment, but it's about the extent of it. But I'll send you a few tracks and you see what you think.
All right, mate. If you need me to lay down some vocals, let me know.
Actually, I might do. I can't sing. So.
All right. Well, good to see you, Durbo. Good luck with your training. I look forward to catching up in person, mate.
Yeah, sounds
good.
Good.
Bud. You're looking well, mate.
Yeah, see you, Jonesy. Thanks, boys. Mate. Bye.
Luke Durbridge, about to go for a spin. We're going to take a quick drinks break, and then when we come back, Alex Manley. So stay tuned for plenty more detour.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace. with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Feel more in every moment. The all-new Lexus NX.
Thanks again to Bike Exchange and, of course, Lexus of Blackburn. Big supporters of Lexus of Blackburn Bakerits. Johnny?
Yes, Ruby Roseman Gannon and Blake Quick standing at the top of the Lexus NX 300, which is just an amazing car to drive. All electric. Just frightening how quick they go, but just beautiful to drive as well. So, yeah, go and see Andrew Moore at Lexus and the team, and they'll look after you. Fantastic people and great supporters of cycling.
All right. Now we've got another special guest, Johnny, and you're great at the intros. And Alex Manley, geez, what a run of form.
Well, she's a superstar. Alex was, one of our very talented junior cyclists, like world champion on the track as a junior. I think he ran second and third 2 years running in the individual time trial as a junior. Joined the track program and was one of our stars, points races, Madison's, Teams Pursuit, represent Australia at Tokyo Olympics in the Team Pursuit. But doing a little bit of road here and there, but COVID sort of that stopped it a bit. But this year she's come on, joined the Green Edge squad, the Bike Exchange-Jayco team, and had sparkling form. So don't wait any longer. Let's bring her on and we'll find out where it's all come from.
She joins us live. Alex, welcome to the Detour.
Hey, it's nice to see you guys.
Nice to see you too. As we said in the intro, amazing run of form. 4 stages in the overall at the Lotto Ladies Tour recently. Geez, what can you boil that down to?
I don't know. I feel like when I stop thinking about things and just race, things started happening, and I had a really amazing group of girls around me, and everybody kind of just believed in me, and then things just kind of started happening.
Well, it wasn't some of these stages, they weren't close. You've absolutely blitzed them, as they say in the classic, by the lengths of the straight.
It was the Thuringen Ladies Tour, which was in Germany, and Australians have a special connection with that. But I know you won stage 1, 3, 4, and 6. What happened in 2 and 5?
Well, 2 Georgia Baker won, so I feel like that's good for the team. And stage 5, a Ukraine girl won, actually, which kind of became actually quite special. And the anthem played, and with what's going on in the world at the moment, it was actually kind of pretty special, and it was really good. I didn't win that one. But we tried.
She broke away and you just didn't catch her. Is that right?
Yeah. She was away for 60K, so she did a really good job.
So where are you based, Alex? Are you part of the Girona crew, or have you branched out and based yourself somewhere else?
No, I went back to my roots. All the Australians are here, so I am in Girona, and going up to Andorra in a week to do some altitude. But in Girona, and loving the sun here and the environment.
Do you enjoy this sort of expat community? And it's a massive cycling community in Girona now. Just having that ability to connect with people from sort of similar backgrounds, and obviously being from Australia, it is difficult at times being so far away, from all friends and family. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I lived in Italy a few times for a couple of months throughout, when I was younger and in the team a few years ago, and I found it pretty hard and isolating. So I wanted to come to Girona and be around more people that are from different teams, a bit more of an atmosphere. You can speak a bit more English, which is probably not the best thing, but it's good, and I like being around people I know and other friends.
Iffy?
Now, the women's tour that's just finished, Tour of Britain. You rode really well. You finished 4th overall, but you climbed really well as well. So does that give you confidence for the Women's Tour de France?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I can't claim it fully that it was a proper climb because we had a headwind going up there. But I am happy with how I went, and to stay with the riders that I did stay with, I was pretty stoked. But nobody really knew what if I could climb or not climb. I wasn't sure what I could do, so I'm happy and looking forward to the Tour de France, and hopefully we have like a really strong team there and we can do something special.
How much of a build-up is it for the Tour? Because you look traditionally races like the Giro. I mean, that was the Women's Tour de France. But now that the actual Tour is on, do you find a lot of the girls in the peloton are a bit like, well, I just want to be selected for the Tour? You know, that is the big one this year. Yeah,
definitely. Everybody wants to be in this Tour team because it's the first real big one that there has ever been. So you can tell like the peloton are like getting ready for the Tour, and you'll notice a lot more people are focusing on different things than in the past. Like I feel like in the past it was like every race, you know, people are trying to win, but this time it's like the Tour is definitely the biggest focus for everybody.
Iffy?
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about it, actually. I mean, you're starting on the final day of the Men's Tour de France, so you get all of that hype. But then you've got a wonderful course. I was coming over. I was going to travel with the team, but Jonesy cut my lunch with SBS, so I can't get over there now. But look, I'll be watching every day from back here, and we'll be doing the podcast every day right through the Women's Tour de France. So, yeah, the eyes of the world and the detail will be on you guys and gals.
Do you have a question, John?
Well, that was
that's what, when I throw to you, I go, if he, now he's dropped them up. So, Alex, if you haven't noticed, we're a bit rough around the edges on the Detour podcast. You just turn your microphone off, John. You got a red light now. But so if you want to go for a spot on the Tour de France, what is your sort of preparation? And surely with the recent form, it's obviously pretty good indication that, you know, you're going to perform.
Yeah. For me, I have like a month off now until the Tour. So I'm going to go to altitude and try that out. I have never actually done altitude before, so for me this is a new thing. But I think now is the perfect time to go. I have pretty good form at the moment, and hopefully I can hold on to that. I think I will be able to just have a bit of a recovery week now to make sure that I don't overdo it, and then just have a nice build up into the Tour.
John's mic's still off. I've tried to message him. Yeah, you've got to replug it in, mate. With your background from the track transitioning to the road, how tough was that process for you?
For me, it was actually like it was really nice. It was a nice change of scenery. I've always done a bit of road on the side, but the last 2 years were very heavily focused on the track, and it was quite like you're trying to make an Olympic team, which is always going to be difficult, and to do that day in, day out, 100% effort was quite challenging. So to come to the road, I feel like you get a lot more freedom, and it's a lot more individualized, so I can just focus on myself. And if I'm having like a bad day, I can have the day off and then swap my training around quite easily because it's just myself. Whereas with the track, you're working with 7 other girls, and you can't just, and a lot of other staff, and you've got the velodrome and sessions are booked for you, and then there's other teams trying to train, so you can't just move things around. So for me, like coming and doing the road now, it's like been really refreshing, and I knew what I was coming into, whereas other people probably, it was new and exciting and different, but they didn't know what exactly it was going to be like. Whereas I've been there, I've done it, and I've done it the hard way. So I knew that it was going to be a challenge. So if I was going to do it, I had to do it properly. So for me, I've actually really loved swapping back to the road as the main focus, because I've never been able to focus properly on it and still had to try and perform. So now to be able to focus on it, I find it's easier to be able to perform and switch on.
Must be better doing. Oh, sorry, John.
Am I working?
Yeah, you are.
Rid of the
you're working
microphone.
because you cut me off.
No, well, you cut me off. I was actually had a question ready. I was
Okay.
just telling the truth about how
You're doing the ABC long pauses.
Yes.
Like the 5
Exactly.
seconds to build the drama, and then you go.
So my question was, because you went very well in GC in the women's tour in Britain, but what will your focus be for the Tour de France? Will you is for stages, or will you have a bit of a go for the GC?
I'm not so sure yet. We'll see what the team plan is and what form all the other girls have. I feel like I'm not like set on doing GC or doing stages, or I'm just happy to whatever opportunity I get, I like to take it. But I think we have a really strong team, and I can be a good support role as well. I'm happy to do that, and also happy to be the one finishing it off if the team reckons that's the best job for me and for all the girls, because we want to go there and get a good result for the team. Doesn't matter who wins or who doesn't win or who gets a good result, but as long as one of us do, I think it'll be really special, and I think that will be the best thing.
So just back to the breakdown with the Giro and the Tour de France. I mean, the Giro obviously still is a big event. That's obviously going to provide for, riders that don't make the Tour de France squad, as per se, massive opportunities for stage wins and results on one of the biggest races of the year.
Yeah, definitely. I think there are still girls focusing the Giro more so because the stages in the Giro are a bit different to the Tour. And there are people doing the Giro and the Tour as well. So with our team, we have a lot of riders that are very similar and can do both. So they've kind of just split the team in half and tried to make it, a good team for both the Giro and the Tour. And I think at the Giro, you'll see the girls, I think there'll be a stage win there for sure.
So what's the gap between the two? What's the gap between the Giro and the Tour?
I should know this better. I think it's about a bit over a week, maybe 10 days. It's like the Giro is the start of July, and then the Tour is the last week of July. So it could even be 2 weeks in there.
You gave us a fascinating insight earlier when you said that with your results, you just weren't overthinking stuff. How much of effect does that have in the sport of cycling, that mental side of things? And when you sort of get that confidence and you're not, if there's no sort of doubt or whatever, what was the turning point for you to flick that switch?
I don't know what the exact turning point was, but I think it's just learning how to be present in the bike races, to just be this, not thinking about anything else other than the race and the moment of the race, not even overthinking the race itself. So it's just at 10K, you're thinking about 10K. At 120K, you're thinking about 120K. You're not thinking about how, what's going to happen in another 30K, because you have to be present of what's happening here and now. And just making decisions a bit more off instinct and trusting myself as well. And I'm the one in the race, so I can make decisions as well. And I don't know, for me, it was just, I just trust myself a bit more. I don't know how that switch happened, but I'm just glad it did, I guess.
I think it's great advice. I think you apply that to everyday life. The amount of times you overcook stuff and project stuff when exactly what you said, be present.
Yeah, and it's if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I feel I'm not as stressed about it going either way now. Whereas when you put too much pressure on yourself and you're you got to win this, it's I feel it's a bit harder, but at the end of the day, you're trying your best. So it's if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
It's great. Love it.
Look, you're only 26, but you've been racing at the top level for 10 years as an elite junior right through. So you've got lots of experience. So I suppose you should be able to trust yourself.
Yeah, I guess so. I think I didn't realize how much experience I had. But I think going back to Australia and racing in Australia for the last 2 years, and I actually got a lot of trust from just doing that stuff and realizing, I actually know a lot because I came back here and I can apply it at a level that I can perform at, because it's local racing. But local racing in Adelaide was quite hard because you had the whole Australian track team there who they're all good riders, and then you have the Tour Down Under had a lot of good riders there. And I think doing that racing taught me, I've actually learned so much, even though I've been at the back of the peloton and just struggling to get to the finish line. I've been in the environment in Europe for a fair bit, and I have taken a lot out of it. And I've been racing with riders like Jolien de Hoor and Annemiek van Vleuten and maybe I wasn't there when they were winning the bike race at the finish line, but I was part of that, and I learned so much from those experiences that now I can actually apply, because now I have the legs that I can apply what I've learned.
And the bay crits, that all helps with the preparation, of course.
Yes, everything, all the Australian racing is really good.
Another impressive Aussie cyclist we've had on the show a couple of times now, Sarah Gigante, and she's got a very similar mindset, like with the being present. Do you catch up with her in Girona?
I haven't actually seen her enough because we have like different race programs. And unfortunately, Sarah's had a bit of bad luck this last year. But I love watching Sarah ride, and I feel like she's such a great ambassador and for the sport, and such a good role model for so many girls. She's just there and she just loves it. And I feel like it's nice to have those people around and in the peloton. And I love seeing all the Aussies in the peloton and just having a bit of a chat, because there's not that many of us really. So it's nice to catch up and see each other.
I noticed that you spent your younger years racing in Adelaide. You come up through the rest, but I've been brought unstuck before with Google. But you were born in Kalgoorlie.
Yeah.
So what age did you live Kalgoorlie?
Up until I think I was 6, maybe, like 6 or 7, and then I've actually moved around a fair bit. So people ask me where I'm from, and I'm like, Australia, like just Australia, because I've been in WA, I've been in Victoria, been in New South Wales, but I didn't start riding until I was in South Australia. So if it's like a bike thing, I'll probably say I'm South Australian, because I wouldn't have ridden if I didn't live there. I wouldn't have got into it.
And your nickname is Mumbles. Where did that come from?
So my first year in Green Edge, out of the junior ranks, I was pretty quiet and shy, and I didn't really want to be heard, so I did mumble a fair bit. So my Swanee gave me that nickname in my first couple of years on the team, but I haven't had that one for a while. I think it's changed now. I got stressed the other day, and I was like, why am I stressed? Like, I feel like I'm the opposite, but oh well.
I'll tell you another impressive character just off the top of my head. Tennille Campbell, who we had on the show a while ago now, but she's so smart, and her outlook on life as well. You've got a lot of good people around, particularly in the team, that you can bounce stuff off, learn stuff off. You must just have a network of sort of trading secrets, but great support.
Yeah, definitely. I met Tennille the first time this year, and I feel like we have really bonded over the last couple of races. She was in Turigan and at the tour with me, at the women's tour, and I feel like she's like my bodyguard almost. Like, she's just like there, like, where's Alex? And she's like, I have to, when I go to talk to her, like I like go on the top of my bars and like make myself as big as possible. And she like has to drop down and like talk to me. But it's quite funny. I feel like we're a bit of an odd pair, but we get along very well. And it's funny, like in the bus before the racing, me and Tennille like the same music, but the other girls, depends what group of girls we have. But with the one at the women's tour, we had to like kind of change the music a bit more so that everybody could get around it, and it wasn't just me and Tennille.
Well, what's your go-to tracks?
Well, we realized that we both loved, there's this song called Pretty Boy Swag, which is like a bit more of like a basketball, like old school band. And I was like, nobody else knows it but me and Tennille are just like, it's like, I'm not going to sing it. But you can't appreciate it unless like you appreciate it at the time.
You get the guitar out, back you. How's that?
Yeah. I don't know if I can play Pretty Boy Swag, but you like Brian Adams, Mr. Big?
Yeah.
Old school. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. So what do you got planned for your month where you don't have to, you're not racing for the next month, yeah?
Yeah, just going to Andorra and doing some altitude, and I don't really know what the exact training plan is, but just to kind of calm down a bit and build back up for the tour. I haven't done altitude before, but it'll be interesting. Well,
there's more expats in Andorra, so you'll have plenty of people to catch up with over there, and duty free. Load up on gin and tonics.
That'll help.
Yeah, that's it. Take the edge off it a long day. I noticed when I left Girona, a lot of riders' form just started going back to where it should be. I don't know what happened.
Maybe you were the bad influence.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sure. Not maybe. You know, maybe about that. We hear the stories. But I'm only worried about him going over to the Tour de France and damaging a few of the boys again. But anyway, I'm sure they'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
Look, I just want to thank you heaps for coming on, Alex, and congratulate you on your form this year. It's always been there. We've watched it, on the track and over the past, and the little bits you've had on the road, we've seen it over the past years. But it really you've sprung into action this year. It's been amazing. I'm looking forward to watching you in the Tour de France.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for having me on the show.
No worries, Alex.
As you've said.
Great to chat to you, and no doubt, massive things coming up for the rest of the season. So all the best and enjoy your altitude.
Thank you.
No worries. Thanks, Alex.
Bye.
Alex Manley, superstar. Now, Iffy, any other breaking news stories you got? Any inside goss?
No. I'm just excited about the Tour of Swiss stages coming up. I reckon Bling is showing good form. I reckon we'll see some good stuff from him coming up. But it's exciting watching what's going on in Europe right at the moment. The racing's been fantastic. I really enjoyed the Dauphine. I thought it was fantastic that you got Vinegar mate Vinegar coming out and saying he reckons he can win the Tour de France. So
he said that.
He did it. Yeah, he says I believe I can win it. And so Roglic and him are really good mates. And I think it's part of a really good plan.
Last time, remember we saw that photo in '86.
The Pogacar of his game, because it's the only way they can beat him. If one of them was riding, if Jumbo were riding for one of them, they're not going to be a problem.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Two of them, that changes the ball game. And we know what Vinegar can do, because he did it last year. He ran second, and he actually did fix the Pog up on the Tourmalet last year. So
that's right.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Well, they've just released a documentary, I think, on YouTube, showing all behind the scenes of last year's Tour de France. So if you haven't checked that out, folks, go and do that. And check out the Social Distance podcast from yesterday. Billy tells some great Biffo stories. So
look forward to it.
Very entertaining. YouTube.com/the Detour podcast. Oh, and also check out, I did the podcast with Swain Tuft last week, where we were reliving the old backstage pass days. That was a lot of fun as well. That's called Back on the Bus with Swain Tuft.
That is fantastic. I got to tell you, it was. I've got about 5 minutes to go on that, but loved it. Absolutely loved it. He is just out there. Out there's not the word. He's different, and he's got a different aspect of things, different way of approaching things. I just love listening to him. He's an amazing young man.
Yeah, he's just next level. He's such a deep thinker, but he just calls it as he sees it. But he's just got a way about him that's just so wise. He's like a Buddha,
Fantastic.
All right, we'll check those out. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be back again soon, because there's going to be plenty to preview for the Tour de France before things kick off. It's not far away now, 2.5 weeks. So that'll come around quick. But,
thanks for all the Detour fans who've been sending me messages now, because as we mentioned, a good mate of ours, Ronnie Reid, passed away recently, and I've had lots of messages from people at Detour about that. So thanks heaps.
No worries, guys. We'll be back again soon. So like, share, subscribe. Until then, take it easy.
This is the winning ride